Welcome to Love and Adventure. I'm Pastor Evans.
I'm Mrs. Evans.
Thank you for joining us today. Today's topic is what love feels like. So let's get into it.
I was reading a couple of articles and I ran across a resource that puts what most people say love is into some words. So the resource is what Christians want to know, true love. How do you know when you find it? And the quote is, love is not just a noun. It is a verb. It's what you do that is truly love. And so as I was reading over that resource, I came across some definitions. Let's find out what love is defined as. So according to the Webster Dictionary, love is defined as, this is Webster, which was established in 1882. So this definition was established a long time ago.
Old
And
definition.
Huh?
It's an old definition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So love as a noun is defined as a strong affection for another arising out of kinship or personal ties. Attraction based on sexual desire, affection and tenderness felt by lovers, affection based on admiration, benevolence, or common interest. And then love as a verb is defined as to hold dear, to feel a lover's passion, devotion, tenderness for, to fondle erroneously, to copulate with, to like or desire actively, to take pleasure in, to strive in. And so that's what the Webster Dictionary said love is defined as, whether it's a noun or a verb. And then I wanted to go to see, well, the Urban Dictionary, right? Because that's a dictionary that is composed of people's personal thoughts and feelings.
Okay.
And then they vote on it. And so I picked the three most popular. So the first most popular definition had 108,000 likes.
Okay.
And that one was nature's way of tricking people into reproducing.
So
And that
love
had
is a trick.
That's what they said.
That's interesting.
Okay, and then the second most popular had 59,952 likes. And it said it's the most spectacular, indescribable, deep euphoric feeling for someone.
I think it's interesting that you read that one like because it sounds fake, like the most spectacular. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
Okay, and the third one had 33,000 likes. And the likes are as of November when I looked them up. So the third one, or the last one I'm going to share today, had 33,000 likes. And it reads, lust is the desire for their body. Love is the desire for their soul.
So try to contrast lust and love.
Yeah, and so that was from the Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary. Love is a desire for their soul.
Yep.
Sounds ominous.
This episode is brought to you by Extreme Mobile Games. Extreme Mobile Games is the best game truck in Southern California. We specialize in video game birthday parties and special events, including corporate parties hosting up to 200 people. We also offer music for your events and Wi-Fi for all of your online games. No need to leave home. We bring the party to you. We look forward to giving you an experience of a lifetime. ExtremeMobileGames.com. Check us out on Yelp at Extreme Mobile Games. That's XTREME Mobile Games with a Z.
So that is very interesting. The definitions, and so we may or may not come back to those definitions throughout the episode today. But we do have a question.
And the question. And the question.
Go ahead.
What do you believe love feels like in relationships today? What do you believe love is and feels like in relationships today? What do you believe?
So I'm answering? Okay. I don't know. what people think love feels like. If you watch people and if you listen to people talk about love, it doesn't really sound like love what they're talking about. It sounds a whole lot like lust or just infatuation. Kind of like what you were saying before with some of those definitions. It's just this haughty, not necessarily haughty, but like vague definition of what love is. And maybe it's tied to what they want from someone, and how they feel like they get what they need from someone. So I don't know if people know what love feels like. I think that might be why we're talking about it today.
Right.
What do you think?
Right. Well, I think that the word love is used quite a bit, and it's used to express one's emotional feelings about a lot of different things, like, oh, I love those shoes, and I love that pizza, and really you just like it a lot, or there's other words that you can use. We're all very creative and expressive people. You can use other words other than love, and so when we use love in relationship, I think that the definition gets confused, and it's more of what maybe the Urban Dictionary, or maybe what the Webster Dictionary defines it as a noun, and we forget that there's a responsibility with love. You can't just it's not just throwing your feelings out, but there are also responsibilities when you use the word love. And a lot of times I don't think we want to take the responsibility that comes with it.
I see.
Okay, so don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you believe love is and what it feels like in relationships today. Next, we're going to go to what God says love is. And that's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8.
1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8 reads this way. Love is patient and kind, never jealous, boastful, proud, or rude. Love isn't selfish or quick-tempered. It doesn't keep a record of wrongs that others do. Love rejoices in the truth, but not in evil. Love is always supportive, loyal, hopeful, and trusting. Love never fails.
Right.
So, doesn't sound a whole lot like the definitions that we read before. But we know that this is we know that this is what God says love is. So we're going to spend the rest of our time kind of talking about what God said love is, correct? So let's look at several of these.
All right. So the first one, I use the amplified version, so mine reads a little differently. But the first one is endures with patience and sincerity.
Endures with what?
Patience
and sincerity.
And sincerity.
Okay, very good.
Patience and sincerity.
Right. So love endures with patience and sincerity.
Right.
Sometimes you need some patience.
Like today. Need some patience, Jesus.
And sincerity. So love feels like patience.
Right.
Love feels like
it endures with patience.
Endures with patience. So endures sounds like you're like running a race or something, like endurance, like you're trying to get through something or trying to do something. So you endure with patience, because you can endure with impatience.
Right.
And that won't feel loving at all. Right.
Right.
So we're talking about what love feels like. It feels like going through something with someone, right? But knowing that they're there with you and in it with you, and they're not done with you for that matter, and they're going through it with you.
Yeah, it doesn't have to even be that serious. It
Right.
can just be because your husband won't stop.
Won't stop what?
Being.
All right, what's the next one then?
Okay, so the next one is love is. So we're talking about what love is according to what God says.
Right.
Love is kind and thoughtful.
Yeah. I don't have anything on that one. Kind and thoughtful.
So that means that love thinks ahead. It's thoughtful. It doesn't just think in the moment.
Right.
Right. Because I tell our kids that everything that you do reflects back on our family. It causes a ripple effect. There's a consequence, whether good or bad.
Right.
So it's thoughtful. It looks ahead. And it's kind.
Right. Right.
It's kind.
Okay.
So the third one is not jealous or envious.
Not jealous or envious.
Right.
Right. Now, when we were going through these, the first thing I wrote was jealousy is based in insecurity. Like if you feel not secure in what is going on in your relationship, then that comes out as jealousy. But you said something different. I thought that made a whole lot more sense when we were talking about that.
That jealousy, it seems to me in my life to stem from, it's a consequence of sin.
Right.
Okay? Because a lot of times people are doing things that they're not honest with their partner or spouse about.
Right.
And then the way that they react to what they see is in a jealous way.
Right.
So a man or a woman is spending time secretly looking at pornography, and now you're out and about, and the other spouse is fellowshipping, and they begin to get jealous because they feel like what they see is their own sin reflecting back at themselves.
So it's then it could be based in guilt too. Then
Right.
like guilt because.
But guilt is because of the sin.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying it's like insecurity, guilt,
Right.
sin. All those things kind of come together, and then it comes out as
Right.
this. Because jealousy comes across like anger a lot of times too. Like
Right.
so, it comes across that way.
I mean, but it's also it can be as a result of lying, being jealous.
I mean the reaction though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. I mean, it's just sin that is not currently being dealt with, or sin that you're not communicating with your partner or spouse about.
Right.
I feel that jealousy is a result of that.
Right.
So
What's the next
be
one?
careful.
Be careful.
Number 4, I numbered it number 4.
Uh-huh.
Okay, does not brag.
Right. Do we separate brag and arrogant?
Does not brag.
So okay, brag. You did separate. Does not brag. Now we had different. I think we had different opinion about what bragging was when we were preparing for this one.
I didn't have an opinion.
You didn't have an opinion on bragging? What do we have?
That was a conversation you had with yourself.
So I had a different opinion about myself.
Right.
On what bragging was, but I thought, yes, we did, because I thought that I said that bragging is like talking about yourself, and bragging and arrogance kind of go hand in hand, because if you're arrogant, then you tend to tell people about it, and that becomes bragging. I said love does not brag and is not arrogant, but you said it was different. Arrogant and bragging.
Arrogance and bragging is different.
Right.
Because bragging is telling someone about yourself,
right,
or someone else to make you look greater than.
Right.
But arrogance can be, you don't even have to say anything to be arrogant. Arrogance is also an action.
So arrogance is can be unspoken.
Right.
But love doesn't come across as either one of those things. Bragging to puff yourself up, or arrogance being focused on yourself, right?
Right.
So it doesn't come across, love doesn't feel like either one of those things, because we're still in the not portion of this scripture where it says it's not these things, right?
Right.
So love does not brag, does not try to puff itself up, and is not arrogant. It's not completely self-centered and selfish.
Number 6.
Number
love
6
is not rude. It doesn't go ahead in the conversation when someone is still speaking, still trying to get their thoughts out. Love is not rude.
Right. I don't have anything to say about that one.
Okay. Love is not self-seeking.
Right.
So it's not selfish.
It's difficult to be loving and be selfish at the same time.
Right.
Because as we go forward in the list and with what God said about love, we'll see that love is always thinking about someone else, or thinking about or trying to care for someone else. So yeah, love can't be selfish.
Right. The next one is love is not provoked.
Provoked. In a different version, it says easily angered. Because I remember I used to struggle with the word provoked, right? So love is not provoked, or love is
Because you
not.
couldn't spell it?
No, not because I could spell it.
I'm just asking.
Because I wasn't sure how to explain
okay.
to other people what provoked means. Like saying you can't spell something, trying to provoke somebody.
I wasn't trying to provoke anything. I was trying to get understanding, because love is thoughtful.
Fine.
Understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So, love is not provoked.
Right. So you don't, if you're going to be loving,
Mm-hmm.
right, then you can't like pick and poke at people. You can't provoke them into certain things. Because then that's not going to be good for your relationship. We're talking about relationships.
Right.
Right.
There's a scripture that says something about slow to speak,
Oh yeah.
quick to listen,
Be quick to listen,
slow to
speak,
anger.
slow to anger. Right.
Right.
And James.
James.
Yeah.
St. James. All right, so, okay. So my number 9 is does not keep record. I'm bad at that. I keeps record.
Different versions say don't hold grudges.
I try not to.
You try not to.
I'm working on this love thing, y'all.
Right. So you say you hold grudges.
I try not to.
Right.
I try not to keep record.
Right. Keep record.
It's hard though. I write it down.
Right. It's kind of hard to not keep record if you actually write it down.
Okay, but God is not done with me yet.
So-
Okay.
But this one doesn't keep a record of wrongdoings because it's difficult to love and feel loved and be loved when you feel like you have to like keep a record like.
I never
Tuesday
feel like I
you did it.
have to. I just have a really great memory.
So in your mind, you're like, right, on Tuesday.
I take pictures.
Like 5 minutes ago,
Right.
he was irritating me.
Right. He wouldn't let me put my mic on the way I wanted to.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Record.
Right. This is going to be an interesting episode. All right, here we go. What's the next one?
So the next one is does not rejoice at injustice. You're not excited when somebody gets thrown in jail
Right.
at injustice. You're not excited when somebody gets slapped even though they needed to.
I don't know how. Does not rejoice at injustice. So I don't know.
But injustice is something that happens. That's not
Uh-huh.
positive.
Right.
So you're not excited like I told you you're gonna get slapped in the mouth.
Right.
You
Can't be loving.
No, that's not loving.
Okay. So that was the last of the don't list, the kind of quote unquote don't list, the things that love doesn't do. So now we get to get into what love does do. So that first one is.
It rejoices with truth.
Right. So that word rejoice, for me, every time I hear it, it's like get more joyful or get joyful again. So each time you experience truth, you have joy. You can experience joy.
But it's not just the truth that people believe, it's the truth that God says is true.
Right. I didn't say it was just people.
I didn't say you did.
I didn't say you didn't.
What?
What?
Love does not provoke.
So, what's the next one?
Love bears all things. All things.
Right.
All things.
Right. Bears all things.
Bears
Right.
all things.
The Bible tells us that we bear each other's burdens.
Right.
Right. So when we're going through something, if you're expressing and demonstrating and working on being loving when we're going through something, and particularly in relationships, because that's what we're talking about, we go through those things or we endure those things together. So we bear all things.
Yeah, and so listen, this is, right now we're talking about primarily romantic relationships, but this is love for all relationships.
Right.
And it bears all things. And it takes a little while to get there, to be
Right.
able to see things and say, you know what, Lord, I'm going to bear all things in this situation right now.
Yeah. And I know we were talking before about like it doesn't necessarily mean that you accept or agree with or say this is okay. But when you're going through it, it's the fact that you're not leaving or you're not giving up on someone.
Or you choose to see the victory in it.
You choose to see the victory coming, right? So you bear through them in those times.
Right.
Bear with them in those times. Yes.
The next one. Believes all things.
All right. And this one we had to kind of do some background and research on. And I think we came to the understanding that this believes all things means that you believe the best about the person, or you believe the best about each situation, or you believe that the best intentions of someone.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're believing the things that you know are wrong, or the things that you know make you feel like there's something wrong, because there's something to be said about the discernment of the spirit. Like you need to hear God's voice talking to you.
Amen.
And telling you don't need to believe that. It just means it doesn't mean that you have to believe everything put in front of you.
Right.
Okay.
Believe the best intentions.
Okay, so the next one is hopes all things.
Right. And so biblically, hopes means like expectation. Hope means expectation. So not so much like, oh, I hope something happens, but you have an expectation that God is going to come through and do what he needs to do. So in these loving situations, whether it's romantic love or other types, expecting the best or expecting what God has for you. So love hopes or expects what God has for us.
Yes. And the next one is love endures all things.
Endures all things.
Right.
Right. And you kind of have to say the word endures, like endures, because you know, like endurance means that there's some time involved in that, right? You have to go through something, and there's a commitment that you go through.
Right.
So love endures, and it
hangs
up.
in there.
It hangs in there.
Right.
That's a great way to put it. Love hangs in there.
And then finally, love never fails. Love never ever fails.
Never fails. Exactly. And we got to remember that the Bible says that God is love.
Right.
So all these aspects of what love does not do, what love does do, and what we can expect from love is really that encompassing of who God is.
Right.
Right.
Love, because God is love.
Right.
God never fails.
Yeah. Very good.
That's it.
So
Let's go back through the list again.
let's do that.
Love endures with patience and sincerity. Love is kind and thoughtful.
Yes.
It is not jealous or envious. Does not brag.
Right.
Is not proud or arrogant. Love is not rude. Is not self-seeking. Is not provoked. Love does not keep record. Does not rejoice at injustice.
Right.
It rejoices with truth. Love rejoices with truth. It bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. It endures all things.
Right.
Love never fails.
Yeah. It's encouraging. So, having gone through the definition, the Webster's, the urban definition, and really getting into what God says love is, it gives us an opportunity or a baseline to kind of look at ourselves and look at our relationships and say, is this love? Is this what God would have for me?
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
And where am I not getting it? Where do I need to work
Right.
at?
What I need to like shore up.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we want for you
Right.
today. And
This is the end. Ooh.
right. Thank you for joining us on the Love Intervention today.
See you next time.